Good evening. This is the closed session. It is 5 o'clock. I will call this closed session to order. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak, and have we received any correspondence?
No correspondence was received. We do have 2 public speakers.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Can you please call the first public speaker?
Alex Zikakis, followed by Luke Sarmiento.
Good evening, Mr. Zikakis.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and esteemed City Council members. I'm Alex Zikakis. I am the president of Capstone Advisors and the owner of the Cato Menifee project. I appreciate all the effort that's gone into resolving the differences with the City of Paris, and I want to let you know I've been shoulder to shoulder with the City of Menifee in that fight against Paris from the beginning. When the City of Paris tried to take away the truck corridor off of Ethonac, our project sued the City of Paris, and we were the first ones to get through that litigation and have that and to win that. And I'm involved in the litigation on the travel center, once again, to try to get leverage, to try to help negotiate a settlement with the Paris stakeholders. And I've been very involved in those discussions with those stakeholders. And yesterday was on the phone, working my best to push up their original offer of $1.6 million to $2.1 million with a lot of discussion and prodding from myself. And, you know, at the end of the day, they're really the ones that are paying for all of this. You know, there's effectively 2 developers out of the City of Paris that are shouldering the majority of this payment that's coming back to Menifee, just like there's really a handful of developers from Menifee that are shouldering the Case Road realignment. And the current offer, we look at it and say we think it's a win for the constituents. It's a significant payment for fire services. It guarantees that Paris will either build a fire service here in the near future, will pay additional payments. And I would ask that everybody keep in mind the differential of the bid and the ask between these 2 cities, what that dollar amount is relative to the economic benefits that us Menifee developers can unleash and bring into the city. So we're hoping, we'd really hope that we could accept the 2.1. I have been actually reading through the economics of the other developers' deals to understand sort of like how much more money the Paris developers could put in. And all of us developers, this is a tough environment to develop in. Interest rates are high, capital is scarce. It's really hard to get any deals. And my big concern is that we lose any of the developers, either from Paris or from Menifee. Anybody loses their deal, then that's money we don't have to try to bridge this between the cities. And we all know that saying, time kills deals. And I've also, for the last year and a half, have hired a political consultant to really understand the composition of the board of Paris, which I'm sure you all understand as well. And we all know that there's not an overwhelming support on the board of Paris to get to a resolution. I think it's a 3-2 right now. I would hate to lose that. And And I guess the other thing I'd bring up is, Menifee's got a great reputation. It's a great place to do business. I've been doing business in this area for 20 years. And what I really would be a shame is if the development
Mr.
community looked at
Secaucus.
Menifee and said that we're at the point where we're going to move on to other locations.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Oh, okay.
Thank you,
you
Mr.
very much for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, can you please call the next public speaker?
Luke Sarmiento.
Good evening, Mr. Sarmiento.
Good evening. My name is Luke Sarmiento, and I represent Lubbock Industrial, a local developer. Recently approved for a 2-building project within the city's EDC Northern Gateway, covering approximately 20 acres. I'm here tonight to voice my strong support for the proposed settlement agreement between the City of Paris and the City of Menifee. This agreement represents a long-awaited opportunity for all parties, both cities and us developers, to move forward together. For some time, we've all been working through various issues, some of which have been related to development community, and some that have not. This proposed settlement provides a balanced and practical solution that allows us to shift our focus toward what truly matters: creating jobs, driving economic growth, supporting the city's general plan, and delivering infrastructure improvements that benefit both cities and their residents. The longer this goes on, the more pain that is felt by all stakeholders. We want to move forward. As a committed investor in this region, we value collaboration and mutual respect. This agreement positions both cities and all stakeholders within the EDC Northern Gateway for long-term success. We are currently working with the confidential user for full occupancy of our site, and continued delays or uncertainty could jeopardize not only this opportunity, but others to come, as we've already experienced twice previously. Time is of the essence for us all. We respectfully urge the council to approve this settlement so we can move forward beyond this issue and continue building a stronger, more unified region. Thank you for your time and leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Sarmiento. Okay, Madam Clerk, I don't believe there are any other public speakers or correspondence, so I will go ahead and recess to closed session at 5:05. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I will call this meeting to order at 6:04. Mr. City Attorney, do we have anything to report out of closed session?
Mayor, there was no reportable action in closed session tonight.
Thank you, City Attorney Melching. Madam Clerk Rosine, have you received any correspondence on tonight's agenda?
The council did receive a piece of correspondence on non-agenda public comments.
Thank you, Madam Clerk Rosine. Madam Clerk Rosine, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Dynas.
Here.
Councilmember Diedrich.
Here.
Councilmember Temple.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carwin.
Here.
And Mayor Estrada.
Present. Next, we are on our words of inspiration. I would like to invite Janet Ringelman with VFW Post 1956 to come up to the podium to provide our words of inspiration. Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, council members, distinguished guests, neighbors, and friends. We come together tonight not just to make decisions, but to continue shaping the story of this city. A story written in a way we treat one another and in the choices we make every day. Not just for today, but for the generations who will walk these streets long after we are gone. When I wore the uniform and proudly served my country, I learned something that has never left me. We are strongest when we stand together. You don't get through hard times alone. You lean on the person next to you. You work side by side in the spirit of unity. Our city needs that same spirit. Imagine a place where our children don't just hear about unity, they see it, they live it every single day. A place where our elders are honored and their wisdom uplifted. And where our differences are not walls that divide us, but bridges that bring us closer through compassion and kindness. But a community like that doesn't just build itself. It is built every single day by the choices we make. When we choose kindness over comfort, when we choose courage over convenience, when we choose to stand not apart but together for what is right. It's holding the door for the person behind you. It's checking in on a neighbor you haven't seen in a while. It's speaking up when something is wrong, even if your voice trembles. And it is these choices that become the story of who we are as a community. So let us act not because we must, but because compassion compels us. Let's stand not because we have no choice, but because we believe that stronger together is the only way forward. Forward to a community built on a legacy of courage, compassion, and kindness. So tonight I ask you, not just to hear these words, but to carry them through, exemplify them, and pass them on. And together, let's write the kind of story about this city that our children and their children will be proud of. Thank you, and may we always walk forward with courage, compassion, kindness, and unity towards one another. God bless all of you. God bless our veterans, and God bless our beautiful city of Menifee.
Thank you, Mrs. Ringelman. We appreciate your words of inspiration tonight. Next, we are on our Pledge of Allegiance. Would Gloria Sanchez please lead us in the pledge?
Thank you. Please remove your hats. Face the flag. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. We appreciate you leading us in the pledge tonight. Next, we are on presentations, and we are honoring our Citizen of the Month, Monica Carley. Council, will you please join me up at the front? We're on our Citizen of the Month, and tonight we are honoring Monica Carley. Every month, a new council member gets to choose. This month, we are on District 1, and Mayor Pro Tem Carwin made this selection. Mayor Pro Tem Carwin, will you lead us off in this presentation?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. You know, when I look for somebody who represents the Citizen of the Month, there's a couple of different things that I look for. Things are important to me in the community, helping the youth, bringing arts to people, and filling needs in the community that the rest of the community isn't doing. And I think you do all of those things. I also want to say that I want to thank Tony Riverdito, a former Citizen of the Month himself, for nominating you and making sure that we recognize everything that you're doing here, from working as an educator to being a community leader to helping start from scratch a musical movement to bring people entertainment and joy. And people always say there's nothing to do in the city of Menifee. Well, now that's wrong because of you. So I can't think of anybody better to award this month than to you. So I'm going to present this to you, and then I'm going to pass the microphone down so everybody else can say nice things about you.
You know, my perspective is a little different. I remember the day that you and Andrea moved in and meeting you and fast becoming friends with your family and ours. And you've always had that wonderful attitude of, I can do things, I can do anything, and I want to do things. And you immediately wanted to get involved with the city. And I remember some of the things that you said, and I think this is really kind of a culmination of your goals of achieving, along with Andre and all of the people that you work with, of being able to provide a wonderful avenue of music and art for the city. And you've just done such a wonderful job of spearheading that, of being at the vanguard, of providing such a great thing for the city. And you know, your attitude and your spirit are just wonderful. So I'm so glad that you've received this recognition, and I'm so grateful for all that you do for the city. Thank you.
I just want to say on behalf of the residents of Menifee, just thank you. You know, you probably don't hear that a lot when you all the things you do. So I want to make sure that we say thank you for all you do. You know, it's not, we have a lot of great volunteers, and we just can't thank you enough for it. So congratulations, you deserve it. Thank you.
Yes, Monica, thank you. Right, I'm gonna echo what Dean said. Thank you. We haven't had a ton of opportunity to interact and do a lot together, but you know, it's so easy for people to just say there's nothing to do here and complain about it. You did something about it. We have this great feature now of artists, musicians coming in and providing that to the community. So we just truly appreciate it. And anybody can do things, and you did. So thank you.
Mrs. Carly, I want to thank you for your leadership that you've provided in our city. You've exhibited that you want to bring out the best in our residents, from leading the entertainment, leading the arts, your work in the school district, teaching our students new skills. You're advocating for people to bring the best out of themselves, whether it's art or in school, and we appreciate you and all your hard work and making Menifee a premier place to be. Thank you. Thank you. I'll go ahead and pass it to Mayor Pro Tem Carmen. We would love to read out the proclamation for you. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Are you good? You're going to plug Live Jam when it's your team chance to talk, right? Okay. That's why I left it out. I let you do it. It says, in recognition of your outstanding dedication, service, and positive impact on the Menifee community, your passion for education, volunteerism, and leadership has enriched the lives of students, families, and residents. Your commitment to education, arts, and culture continues to inspire others and strengthen our city. The City Council commends you and thanks you for making Menifee a premier place to be.
Now, Mrs. Carly, I'll extend the floor to you.
Oh, thank you. Could you hold this for me, please? All right, hold on. I have something prepared. So first off, I want to say thank you for your message. It was fabulous, and it goes hand in hand with what I want to talk about. I promise I'll keep it under a few minutes. So there is an old adage that we know that goes like this. It takes a village to raise a child. But have you ever wondered what the second part of that is? Well, I've searched Google, I've searched all around, and I can't find one. It stops right there. It tells you, yes, it's all about development of children. It's more about educators and parents and the community and different people getting involved with children and helping them, get to where they are so that they can be this wonderful adult. But there's not a second part. So that's where my brain started going. And so first off, this is my first thought is, well, it does take a village to raise a child, but as an adult, you need to give back, because then that cycle can repeat. And we don't talk about that. So I want to talk quickly about my villages that I am a part of. And so that's a thank you for everyone for my award, because I wouldn't be here without all of you. So I'm trying to keep it together here. So first off and foremost, my Savior, Jesus Christ, because he gave me these skills, these talents, and he put me in front of you and all of you. So thank you very much for being in my life and letting me be a part of what I'm doing. All right, next, my wonderful husband, Andrea, who I love dearly, and he supports me with so many things, and I just want him to know how much I appreciate him. All right, without my parents, hi, Mom and Dad. I know they're online and they're watching, and so I brought a picture of them to be in the picture today. So they have taught me such wonderful skills, hard work, and I wouldn't be here today without beautiful parents. So thank you very much. Okay, next, I have 4 wonderful kids, and they are fabulous people. And so my first daughter's in the medical field. My second daughter's a physical fitness trainer. My third daughter, who's here, Alicia, is into the technology, and my Navy son, who's on Newport Road, meaning like he's a banner, but he couldn't be here. So I love my kids dearly, and plus I have 3 bonus kids with Andrea. I also have 9 grandkids. I love them so much, and I have 2 bonus as well. So I love all my grandkids, and all of them make me who I am. I want to thank each of you. I know I've said it already, but you're my friends, and anyone who comes in contact with me is my friend. So, different villages, yes. Okay, I had a village when I was a little girl. I have a village when I was a teenager, and now I have multiple villages as an adult. And so I want to thank you for letting me be a part of things. What villages have I been a part of? Well, Arts Council Menifee, they were a part of my journey. Menifee Women's Club, they're part of my journey. I'm the, I can't remember my title, treasurer or something. I'm on the HOA board for my village area, and I love all my neighbors and friends that are around me. I have an LDS family at church who I absolutely love and adore, beautiful friends there that I meet. And my vocal coach, Miss Noni. And so I love her with all my heart because she's helping me as an adult to be able to come out of my shell. Well, you wouldn't think that I have one, but but when I sing, sometimes I kind of clamor. So anyway, she's helping me to do that, and I so appreciate you. Thank you so much. I want to thank my California Historic Route 66 Association. I'm their secretary, and we meet once a month, plus we have activities throughout the state of California. So I love vintage cars. I love all the car shows, and so it's just something that rings true to me in my life. I want to thank my principal and her fabulous secretary that's with her, Crystal and Miss Ellison, because Hillside Innovation Academy has just taken me and risen me up. It's an online through Romaland School District, if you're not familiar with that. And they provide so much support and love, and I so appreciate you for that. I have other friends who are sitting in here who are neighbors, and I know you from here and from the Spiritual Center and everything. So thank you so much. But one last plug is for Live Jam, and that's my newest thing. So let me hear it. Live Jam. Woo! Okay. Live Jam is held at the Center for Spiritual Living in Menifee Valley. It is a venue that we're there for 2 times a month, sponsored by Angel and Me, a nonprofit. And we so appreciate Cynthia Nemelka for providing us with that opportunity to do that. We have concerts twice a month. So if you're not sure what that is, please come see me, get a hold of me. And we have anything from jazz to rock and roll to alternative something, and country, reggae. So we also have artists, we have caterers, we have vendors. So the next one is this Friday. 6:30, 6 o'clock. And so we're going to be having our Rissois, correct? Yeah, Rissois is going to be there. So please come out and support us. It is free admission, and the only thing you have to purchase is if you want a meal or you want to buy some art or something like that. So with that, I need to thank my husband, Greg Conte, Tony Reverdito, and Naomi Temple. They're the staff that helps me run this fabulous event, and I absolutely adore and love them and appreciate all the hard work that you guys do for me. So in closing, I started with, it takes a village to raise a child, and so here it is. This is my version. A village nurtures the child, and in time, the child becomes the new soil that nourishes the village, ensuring the cycle of growth endures. Thank you for letting me be a part of this village.
Congratulations, Mrs. Carly. Next, we're going to take a photo with you and then a photo with your friends and family. We have our PIO, Phil Southard, here. Next, we're on item 5.2, Community Services Update, and I see our Community Services Manager, Gabby Cowell, up at the podium. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here to provide updates for the Community Services Department. So, in addition to weekly classes and fun activities daily at the Case Senior Senior Center, we have a jam-packed day tomorrow with our monthly transportation workshop, monthly food box distribution at La Ladera Park, a VA end-of-life benefits presentation by the National Cemetery, and we are celebrating Senior Appreciation Day. We welcome everyone to come join us. Mighty Me is a year-round program that offers free, inclusive activities for all ages, abilities, and capabilities. We're kickstarting the school year. This Friday, we'll be starting our Social Friday series. We will have a scavenger hunt for youth, and the theme is Game Show Mania for adults in attendance. In September, we do have a couple of events. On September 19th, we have a pop-up paint night with a live instructor. We still have some spots available, so we encourage families to sign up. This is a family-friendly event. During the same time frame, we're also hosting our free art affair. We currently have 32 local artists that will be showcasing their work. Our next bulky item event is taking place on Saturday, September 20th at Heritage High School from 8 to 12 p.m. or until bins are full. Because this is one of our larger bulky item events, so we will be accepting used tires and e-waste. We also have scoop and go mulch available for residents that want to come on by. And I wanted to do some quick updates on our recreation team. We've had some exciting new promotions in the recreation division. These are all familiar faces, but now you get to see them even more often. First off is Michael Reinhardt. He has been promoted to CS Supervisor overseeing the Recreation Division. Under him, as you know, our beloved Aisha Wilson, who's a coordinator overseeing Case Senior Senior Center. She still oversees not just our senior programs and events, but also all of our cultural arts events and activities, veteran services, and our transportation program. We have Shanice Jackson, who still oversees our sports leagues and camps, our aquatics program, a healthy Menifee, and our skate park. One of our newer faces is Kim Victorio. She was formerly ACS specialist at Lazy Creek, and she has been promoted to coordinator, overseeing youth programs, Mighty Me, school break camps, and youth leaders of Menifee. And effective this coming week, we'll also be promoting Sarah Eccles. I know you've seen her at a lot of our community events and programs. She's been with the city for almost 10 years herself. She will be overseeing special events, community relations, and vendors and sponsorships. Additionally, not pictured up here is another face that you will all, I'm sure you are all familiar with. We have welcomed back Park Ranger Brandon Sampson. So if you see him out in the streets and at the parks, please be sure to welcome him back. And that's all my updates.
Thank you, Mrs. Cow. We appreciate the presentation and all the hard work you and the entire team do behind the scenes. Council, any questions? Hearing none, thank you so much. Next, we're on agenda approval or modifications. Madam Clerk, are there any modifications to tonight's agenda? City Attorney Melching, do you have an input, sir?
Thank you, Mayor. We have two staff proposed modifications to the agenda tonight. The first modification is with respect to item 12.1. That's the ordinance regarding open container laws in Menifee, and we are suggesting that that item be continued to a future meeting. We don't think it'll be long, maybe next month. Probably the second meeting next month is what we guess, but for purposes of tonight, we just request that it be continued. Likewise, you have an item that you continued from the last meeting. It's item 12.4, which is the Regional Ad Hoc Committee. And we are suggesting that that item also be continued to a future meeting. We will put it on as soon as we think it's necessary for it to move forward, but parties are moving forward well in the underlying dispute that was the purpose of that ad hoc committee, and so we don't think we need it for now.
Thank you, City Attorney Melching. Yep. We have a staff recommendation to continue and table 12.1 and 12.4 to a future date. Can I ask the City Council for all in favor to approve the agenda as modified? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, then the agenda is approved as modified. Next, we are on public comments on non-agenda items. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments on non-agenda items?
Yes, we do.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and read the statement for the public. This is the time for members of the public to address the council about items which are not listed on the agenda. The Ralph M. Brown Act limits the council's ability to respond to comments on non-agendized matters at the time such comments are made. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes on any single item. Madam Clerk, can you please call the first speaker, please?
We have Magda Stewart, followed by Matthew Gilmore.
Okay. Good evening, Ms. Stewart.
Hello, council members and city manager and staff. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I am Magda Stewart, CEO of the Trauma Intervention Programs of Riverside County, also known as TIP. And for those in the audience that don't know who we are, we're specially trained volunteers who respond to trauma scenes at the request of first responders to provide emotional and practical support for the survivors while they work on the scene. I am here tonight just to say thank you so much for the partnership from you all and the first responders in the city and for the continued support. Our fiscal year, we had a total of 717 calls and we assisted over 2,500 clients. And I do want to say that Menifee was the highest single user of our services. So I do want to thank Menifee PD and Menifee Fire for that. I also wanted to remind everyone, if you haven't received the invitation yet, you will be receiving it for our Heroes with Heart Awards dinner, where we recognize our first responders that have gone above and beyond. We do have 2 nominees from Menifee, so we'd love to see some of you at the event, which is October 3rd in Pechanga. And last, we do have a training academy in October for volunteers, so anyone interested in finding out more about the volunteer opportunity and maybe becoming volunteers to work directly with the first responders, they can go online and sign up for that at tiprifco.org. That is rivco.org. And again, thank you so much for the partnership and the support throughout the years.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Matthew Gilmore.
Welcome, Mr. Gilmore.
My name is Matthew Gilmore. Honored members of the City Council, I would like to thank you and the Public Works Department for approving the budget for scheduling residential street crack sealing. Cracks allow water to permeate into the roadbed, causing weak spots and reducing the load-bearing capacity of the street and expedited failure. The typical lifespan of an untreated residential street is 20 years, but can be as few as 10 depending on construction quality and traffic environment, such as hot days and cold nights that cause contraction expansion wear. I've lived in the same house for over 20 years, and this is the first time any road extension efforts have been performed on my street, although admittedly there are streets in Menifee far worse, such as Hahn Road for a mile south of Scott. The most common professional street crack sealing machines are walk-behind, such as the Rhino Works RY10 Pro. The amount of crack sealer applied to the crack is relative to the speed at which the spreader is pushed, i.e. slower equals more. The streets are cordoned off from parking for one day and one day only, which the edges become inaccessible due to car reparking afterwards. Contractors must pay their employees by the hour, so there's pressure to get the job done sooner, which means moving the machine faster, which means a poorer quality job. My father stressed to me that a job worth doing is worth doing right the first time. The city's Public Works Department recognizes that touch-up must be done due to what I have been told as sealant settling. It is my contention if the material was properly heated to the right temperature to become more soluble, it would seep into and fill the cracks to the surface, eliminating the need to return, which can still miss areas where no sealant was applied the first time. It is highly unlikely they re-walk every crack sealed the first time, or they would not have the emissions as seen in my pictures. Where contracts are concerned, often the low bidder with some experience will often obtain the bid. The city does not have the time to visit recent crack seal projects performed in other areas by all bidders. The pictures I have taken were on just one city street encompassing about 2 blocks in length. These were taken after a second touch-up pass. I believe crack sealing can extend the life of our streets if properly done, saving large amounts of money in street repairs. I encourage better oversight and emphasis on applying more sealant to the cracks on the first pass to avoid return visits. If the spotter were to walk behind the machine, areas missed or underfilled could be corrected on the spot with less of a need to return visit, which may still miss the under or unrepaired cracks. The cost of labor for having a trained spotter would be offset by the need of not having to return and a durable and complete seal, saving future road repairs. I hope the city can ensure contractors train their employees properly, as such large contracts, it is possible that inexperienced workers are hired on short notice to push and operate the machines, resulting
Mr.
in poor
Gilmore,
quality.
your 3 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmore. Madam Clerk, do we have any other speakers?
Beverly Green.
I thought he was going to make it.
Good evening, Mrs. Green.
Good evening. Good evening to all the council members, mayor, everybody in the audience, City of Menifee. So we have a granddaughter that just started at Liberty. I would have never known what the parents over there were going through up until I started going last week. We need a light on Garbani and Briggs. Oh my God, it's terrible. There's a stop sign there, and it takes, I went one time. Thank God I got other people in the community that are helping me since they know I'm at the store. But it took me a good 45 minutes to get out of that school and be able and come down Garbani, because you got 1,000 cars literally stopping at a stop sign. And it took me a good 45 minutes and then I came through the back way from El Centro. It took 45 minutes. Something has to happen right there. It is terrible. That's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Green. Madam Clerk, any other public speakers?
No other speakers.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to go on to council member updates and comments. I'll go ahead and start to my right. Council member Diedrich, will you lead us off, please?
Thank you, Mayor. I will be very quick. No meetings for my committees to report out. I know it's been a busy time with school starting. I've been busy myself, but looking forward to some future upcoming meetings. That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Diedrich. Councilmember Temple.
And I did not attend any meetings for committees either. However, community events on the 13th, I attended a Milvet packing event at the Fairfield Inn. On the 19th, I was interviewed by the League of California Cities for a publication about our city and the Citizens Academy that we put on. And then on the 19th, I attended the opening ceremonies of the Menifee Citizens Academy.
Thank you, Councilmember Temple. Next, Councilmember Dynas.
Thank you. Being summer, most of the commissions that I sit on are dark for most of July and some of August. So, but I did attend the Menifee Citizens Academy opening last night. But also, I want to I did attend the John Denver Memorial. Someone that gave back to our community tremendously, and a former council member. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Dynas. Next, Mayor Pro Tem Carwin.
Thank you. So I have two committees to report out on. RCTC. Caltrans is going to be doing pavement maintenance on the 215 between Clinton Keith and Newport starting on August 24th. And they're going to be doing most of the work at night. They hope to have the roads open each day by 6 a.m. I think they're going to start at like 9 or 10 o'clock p.m. So they're not going to be working during peak hours. There are going to be some lane closures. It's going to take 2 months. And then the section from Newport to the 74 is scheduled for the 2031-2032 fiscal year. And that's got an estimated cost of $38 million, which they're still trying to raise. But just want to let everybody know that the plan for the entire corridor has been made. Second, WRCOG did not meet since the last meeting, but I have been appointed to the Administration and Finance Committee of WRCOG, so we're going to have a stronger voice in WRCOG. As far as community activities go, I was there with Councilman Dynas and the mayor at the Celebration of Life for Councilmember and former Mayor John Denver. I attended our community partners meeting and filled in our community leaders and what's going on in the city and heard theirs. I attended a Chamber of Commerce mixer at the Black Bear Diner. That was a great event. I was also at the Milvet Care Boxing packaging event. I went to the Methodist Church pancake breakfast on Saturday morning. That was fun. I'd never been in that facility before. It's beautiful over there, and it's the one you see when you're going down the freeway southbound at 215. They've got the big church sign out there, and their church is right there, so they're going to lobby for an off-ramp right by their sign, right into the back of the church right there. Yesterday, I attended the Wake Up Menifee Chamber of Commerce event at the Gray Legal Group. They're in Marietta, but they're part of our Chamber of Commerce because of the family law courthouse here. And I think I was with everybody at the Citizens Academy first session yesterday. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Carwin. I attended an e-bike training we had here at City Hall on August 9th. I think it was a great idea for our police department and our city staff to put that on. E-bikes are a hot topic and growing in numbers, and I think the police department has another one planned potentially in the wintertime. Stay tuned for a definitive date out there. I'm getting a nod from the chief. Okay, thank you, Chief. I got your approval. So keep an eye out for that. I think it'll be a great workshop for our community coming up again in the winter. I also attended the John Denver Celebration of Life with my colleagues. I had a meeting with Chuck Washington, Supervisor Chuck Washington. Me and Armando and his chief of staff, Robin, just talked about where Menifee stands regionally and in Riverside County. And we hope to make that an annual update that I have with Supervisor Washington to talk about our city and how we can work together with the county. I attended the Menifee Citizens Academy. All of the council members were there. And yesterday I attended the 1-year anniversary for Nahara Law Group. They are next to Dave's Hot Chicken, and I celebrated there with Canyon Lake City Council member Del Welty, and just gave moral support to our local businesses. Those are all of my updates. Next, we're on approval of minutes. There's one set of minutes for the council's consideration. Does the council have any modifications? Hearing none, can I ask the city council for all in favor of approving the August 6th meeting minutes? Aye? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Okay, next, we're on agenda item 10, consent calendar. All matters on the consent calendar are to be approved in one motion unless a council member requests a separate action on a specific item on the consent calendar. If an item is removed from the consent calendar, it will be discussed individually and acted upon separately. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak on consent calendar items?
There are none.
Thank you. Are there any items the council wishes to pull for further discussion? Hearing none. Okay, can I get a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And that passes 5-0. Okay, we are now on discussion items. We decided earlier in the meeting to continue 12.1, so we'll move on to 12.2. This is the introduction and first reading of an ordinance adopting the 2025 California Building Standards Codes. I see Director Hernandez at the podium. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. The item before you tonight, this is something we do every few years. So our building official, Craig Carlton, will be doing the presentation today. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Carlson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, distinguished guests. I'm here tonight to present the 2025 California Building Standard Codes. In accordance with the California Health and Safety Code, the City of Menifee adopts a number of residential and commercial codes to protect public health, safety, and the general welfare as they relate to the construction and occupancy of buildings and structures. The code cycle is typically 3 years in duration. Once the adoption is completed by the state of California, which also imposes state mandated amendments, local jurisdictions then must adopt the state mandated codes with any local amendments. The adoption of the codes this year was based on 2 assembly bills, Assembly Bill 306 and 130, to assist residents with quickly rebuilding their homes after the devastating wildfires. The California legislature presented AB 306 to reduce barriers and pause the residential code cycle to deliver housing more quickly. The final version of the bill, which seeks to balance concerns, was adopted and signed into law June 30th, 2025 as part of AB 130, which includes a broader housing package. The residential code requirements are being paused per the requirements of AB 130. There will be no residential triennial code cycle in 2028 or any intervening code updates until the 2031 code cycle, at which point a new code may be considered. If adopted, the 2025 residential code would be implemented on January 1st, 2026, and remain in effect through December 31st, 2031. Non-residential code is not impacted by the legislation and will proceed with the usual triennial cycle in 2028, which is indicated below. The significant changes in the commercial code this year, the most significant was the Wildland Urban Interface Code. This was originally in in Title 24, Part 2, in Chapter 7A. It has now been extracted from that code, and it is now its own code. It is now Title 24, Part 7. The state repealed this chapter and adopted a new code aimed at reducing the risk of wildfires. The code will apply to any buildings or structures located within the Wildland Urban Interface or designated fire hazard severity zones. High-rise classification, the measurement to determine a high-rise building now includes the elevation of any occupied roof. And in prior codes, the high-rise measurement was taken to the highest occupied floor, and occupied roofs were not a factor. Two-way communication system, stairways for elevators was also revised, providing a detailed requirements for the design and installation of fire alarm and emergency communication systems in stairways and elevators. This was in compliance with NAPA 72 and the National Fire Alarm and Signal Code. Additional changes in the commercial code included horizontal exit communication systems, which requires two-way communication systems on both sides of a horizontal exit unless there is already an elevator lobby with such a system. This allows people to move safely to a safe area on the same floor instead of using the stairs. The stairway exterior wall protection was also increased. This protects stairway exterior walls when the stairway extends above a lower roof from the main roof. Egress court separation provides safe egress. This was an exception to fire separation rules for narrow exit courts that are less than 10 feet wide and 10 feet from the building. That requires that people are now able to travel in two different directions towards separate exits. On the residential changes, sleeping lofts was a part of the habitable attics. This has now been revised to its own chapter. It shall be considered a portion of the story below and shall not contribute to the number of stories. This is now the new chapter code section R315. Automotive lifts are now included in the residential code where provided. Automotive lifts shall be listed and labeled in accordance with the American National Standard safety requirements for construction, testing, and validation. This was the new section 317.75. Stairway landings. These were already in the code, but they were reorganized. This requires a floor or landing at the top and bottom of each flight of stairs to commensurate to the width, landing shape, and stairway run. Some exceptions include interior stairways with a door at the top of a stairway, exterior stairways of not more than 2 risers, and exterior stairways to grade with 3 or fewer risers serving a deck, porch, or patio. On the implementation of the new codes, beginning January 1st, 2026, the City of Menifee will be implementing the 2025 California Standards Codes, updates to all plans and permits. Applications that are submitted by December 31st, 2025 will be allowed to conform to the existing 2022 California Building Standard Codes. These applications will have an expiration date of December 31st, 2026, and there are no extensions are granted on this. All existing tracks must submit plans that conform to the 2025 California Building Standard Codes for review by the city for all new permit applications submitted after January 1st, 2026. I would therefore like to recommend an introduction on the ordinance adopting by reference the 2025 editions of the California Building Standard Codes, set a public hearing date for September 17th, 2025 for the second reading and adoption. I would also at this time like to recognize individuals who assisted the Building and Safety Department with this because the process is normally a 12-week process to do the adoption of the codes. This year, due to the circumstances with the wildfires, staff was able to get this done in 4 weeks. I would like to recognize Stephanie Rosen in the City Clerk's office, Jeff Melching in the City Attorney's office, and the City Manager's office as well in assisting us with accomplishing this feat in 4 weeks. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Carlson. We appreciate that. Council, do we have any questions at this time? Mayor Pro Tem Carwin.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson. Let me just ask you, I know that we are talking about the possibility of taller buildings coming to Menifee, 4 stories and higher. With any of the codes that we have or that exist, are there any provisions for what happens if people lacking mobility, wheelchair users, things like that, are on the upper floors of a building that catches fire? You can't use the elevators. So is there I was reading about areas of refuge. Is that something that's just a term of art? Is that something that's built into the code?
No, the areas of refuge do exist, and that was a little bit different than the courtyards that I explained where they were changing that. So the area of refuge does still apply in those situations, and that is a designated area that is directed out of the egress from that building.
And that's something that is currently in the code that also applies
Yes,
to building in Menifee?
that is.
Great, just want to make sure. Thank you.
I will tell you that you would have to have additional fire equipment, ladders, if you go above 4 stories at this point in the city of Menifee.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Seeing no other questions in the queue, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
No speakers.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council, do we have any comments? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please introduce the ordinance?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Menifee, California, adopting by reference the 2025 editions of the California Building Code as Chapter 8.04 of the California Residential Code, as Chapter 8.05 the California Green Building Code, as Chapter 8.06 the California Electrical Code, as 8.08 the California Mechanical Code, as Chapter 8.12 the California Plumbing Code, as 8.16 the California Energy Code, as Chapter 8.17 the Model Codes with appendices and amendments related thereto, all of which comprise the Building and Construction Code of the City of Menifee.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, Council, can I get a motion and a second to introduce the ordinance and set a public hearing for September 17th for the second reading and adoption? I'll move it. We have a motion and a second and a 5-0 vote. That passes unanimously. Thank you. Next, we're on 12.3, governance planning during the mayor's 6-month military deployment. Madam Clerk Rosine, could you please provide the presentation?
All right, good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for having me. Tonight, my name is Stephanie Racine, City Clerk for the City of Menifee, and I'm here tonight to present to you an item regarding the mayor's upcoming deployment beginning in October of this year. Tonight, staff is looking for council's direction on 3 items related to the governance planning of Menifee of the mayor's deployment. Staff will bring back a formal item for council's consideration and adoption at an upcoming meeting to memorialize the direction that was received tonight. For the first item of discussion, there will be an appointment timeline for the Mayor Pro Tem and the corresponding duty of selecting the annual theme. The second is the consideration of an alternate presiding officer in the case the Mayor Pro Tem is unavailable. And finally, the City Council standing committees, ad hoc committees, and regional board and commission appointment timeline. Your feedback will help staff prepare necessary steps to ensure smooth transition, maintain representation on committees and regional boards, and continue the city business. As part of tonight's discussion, it's important to highlight the 3 council policies that guide us in this discussion. First is Policy 1 that outlines the responsibilities of the presiding officer. It establishes that if the mayor is absent, the Mayor Pro Tem presides, and in the absence of both, another member designated by the council takes on that role. Policy 2 sets the process for the council's annual review and appointment of members to the city's standing and ad hoc committees and regional boards and commissions. This typically occurs at a meeting in December, but the council may choose another date if needed. And then lastly, Policy 23 addresses the appointment of the Mayor Pro Tem each December and the details, the duties associated with that position. So what is the role of the Mayor Pro Tem? Under these policies, acts as the presiding officer at council meetings, represents the city at city events, meetings, and functions, and participates in the agenda-setting meetings. Additionally, the Mayor Pro Tem selects the annual theme for the year, which is carried through the budget book and city communications. Under our current policy, the Mayor Pro Tem is selected annually by the City Council each December to serve for the following year. Because the mayor's upcoming leave will span 2 calendar years, it is important for the council to discuss these options moving forward. To address this, staff has considered a few options for council to consider regarding the timeline and selection of the Mayor Pro Tem. First, for option number 1, stays in line with our current policy. Our current Mayor Pro Tem, Bob Carwin, would serve from October to December of 2025. And in December of 2025, staff would bring back an item like we usually did, and the council would then select a new pro tem to serve for the 2026 calendar year. Then in December of 2026, we would bring back the same item for consideration for 2027. With this option, the new Mayor Pro Tem appointed in December would take the role of selecting the annual theme for the city, and planning for that would begin in January. For option 2, our current Mayor Pro Tem would serve until October, or from October until the spring of 2026 upon the mayor's return. At that time, staff would bring forward an item to select a new Mayor Pro Tem for the remainder of the calendar year 2026. And again, in December of 2026, we would bring an item back to council to appoint for the calendar year 2027. With this option for the annual theme, the Mayor Pro Tem appointed in spring of 2026 would take the role of selecting that annual theme, and planning would begin immediately. For option 3, the current Mayor Pro Tem would serve from October through December of 2026. This would forego the normal December appointment of a new Mayor Pro Tem. And then the next Mayor Pro Tem appointment would be discussed and taken in December of 2026 for the calendar year 2027. So with this, the new Mayor Pro Tem, like the first option, would take the role, or the existing Mayor Pro Tem would take the role of the city theme and planning and begin in January of 2026. Here's a summary of those options. I'm going to go to the next section after that, then we'll take a pause and go back and have council discussion before we move on to the regional boards and committees. So for the alternate presiding officer. This item for council's consideration, as mentioned, the Mayor Pro Tem will serve as the presiding officer for council meetings for the next approximately 6 months. However, there may be occasions where the Mayor Pro Tem is also unavailable. To prepare for that possibility, staff is requesting that council designate an alternate presiding officer that could fulfill those responsibilities if needed. So in the tables in front of you, the alternate presiding officer would only need to be designated during the mayor's leave. Once the mayor returns, the appointed Mayor Pro Tem fills that role. So for here, option 1, and these timelines mimic in the previous slide for the Mayor Pro Tem appointment. We are advising that an alternate is appointed to begin at the mayor's leave in October of 2025. So the beginning half, we would have someone that could cover. So then for option 1, the council, if they chose to select a new Mayor Pro Tem in December, then we would also bring forward an item for council to consider appointing a new alternate presiding officer. That alternate presiding officer would serve from January to the spring upon the mayor's return. Option 2 and option 3 are the same. So an alternate presiding officer would start in October 2025, and that would both end in the spring of 2026 when the mayor returns. With that, if we have any questions on that portion or would like to discuss before we move on to the regional board and committee's timeline.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Rosine. Colleagues, do we have any questions at this time? Seeing none.
Mayor,
Colleagues, would we
Mayor,
like to...
can I ask one quick question?
Oh, sorry. Yes, Councilman Diedrich. I didn't see you.
I didn't hit my button. I didn't hit
Oh,
my
okay.
button.
Go
I
ahead, sir.
apologize.
Go ahead, sir.
It just came to me right now, so sorry. With option 2, where it would defer the Mayor Pro Tem choosing the theme until the spring. So every other option, planning would begin in January. That option that starts in the spring. Is that an exceedingly difficult burden on staff to start later in that situation?
No, I've talked to the communications team, and they are prepared to get going. What we would ask is that council start thinking about those themes so that you're ready to go and be able to start designing in that time frame.
It would be fine.
It would be doable.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Diedrich. Council, do we have a preference to discuss this portion, or would we like Madam Clerk Rosine to continue on? Oh, I see Councilmember Dynas in the queue.
I was going to say, I prefer to kind of hash this out now before we get to the next step personally, but I'll.
Okay. No problem.
Anyone else wants to. Yeah, I think the most important thing to look at tonight is that when we have the Mayor Pro Tem step into the role, responsibilities of the mayor, that we, for some continuity and from some stability, I think that's important. With option one, you're changing horses in the middle of the stream on that one, and it caused a little bit of confusion when it comes to outside regions and other commissions and things like that, like who's the mayor. So, I think at the minimum we need to have, in this case, it'll be the Mayor Pro Tem, Carwin here, step in as the role for the entire 6 months that would be required, simply just for the continuity and so that there's some stability, not just for the city and for the council, but for, like I say, the regional boards and commissions as well, as to know who the mayor is to contact and things. So, for that reason, I'm kind of leaning more towards option 3. It's easy to say that because Bob gets to do it all, but I volunteer Bob, I just think that's important, how the rest of that works out. I would say that option 3 provides that the best of all of the other 2 options of that continuity on that. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Dynas. Councilmember Diedrich.
Yeah, I was just going to echo what Dean said, that I think option 1 has too much jumping around, right? I mean, I think 3 months with one and then another 3 months with another before you return in the spring seems like too many cooks in the kitchen there on that one. I do like option 2, though, as it kind of returns it to the sense of normalcy when you do return. I don't know whether Bob wants, maybe you want it, Bob, for the 1.5 years or 2 years, that it actually would work out 2 years for you to be Mayor Pro Tem under that situation, under option 3. Option 2 seems like we're returning to normal when the mayor returns, so I'm kind of leaning towards option 2.
Thank you, Councilmember Diedrich. I don't see anyone else in the queue. Oh, Mayor Pro Tem Carwin, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I want to make sure everybody knows that I advocated to bring this item now because I thought it was important that the mayor had an opportunity to chime in on it. If we waited until the normal timeline, you might not have been here to have a say in this. So I thought that's important for your extended absence, that you have a say in what this process is to represent the people who voted you into office and have an opportunity to do that. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to escalate this item. As far as the person who would be subject to this, option number 2, is that, I guess the question becomes, option number 2 seems like it'd be a moving target on the change, where if your deployment gets shortened or lengthened, then that requires us to kind of go back and revisit it because you don't have a certain beginning date and a certain end date as we sit here today. So I'm concerned that that could go one way or another, and we'd be trying to figure out what to do at that point, and then we have to come back and reconfigure it. So since I'm already doing it, I'm already in the stream of things, if the consensus is that I'm the one that people want me to continue on at Pro Tem, I would prefer number 3 just because we wouldn't have to go back. It'd be the same thing as voting for Pro Tem in December now, basically. We just move up the vote 2 months so that the mayor can participate in it, where the mayor would not be able to if we had waited until December. It's sort of, that to me is the continuity of it, and then I would advocate that after that maybe go back to the normal order of things that we've traditionally done. This extended stay is unusual, as we've seen in the news. I believe it was reported it's only the 4th time in U.S. history that something like this has happened. So there's not really a lot of precedent for it. But from my standpoint, it doesn't really change anything for me. I'm already doing a lot of the larger committees and things like that. I would just continue to do that. So the Mayor Pro Tem position doesn't go with any appointments or anything like that. It wouldn't add to the burden or anything like that. So I would be fine with option number 3 if that's the way the council wanted to go.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Next, Councilmember Temple.
Yeah, I hear Ben about option 2, and I think option 2 would be wonderful, but I'm more moved to look at option 3 as well, just because we know when you're leaving, we really don't know when you're returning, and the military doesn't always come through when it promises something. So I'm leaning towards option 3 as well. I think that's the most important thing for the city, just to have that continuity. So we know where to go for the leadership and for the people to speak to their acting mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Temple. Well, I want to say, first of all, thank you to all of my colleagues on the council. You've all shown positive moral support, and it goes a long way. We have a very positive and team-orientated council. We get along, we respect each other, and I appreciate your support in the process here. And I would like for all of you to be comfortable with what's going on forward in my absence. I also would like to make one request. Upon my return, I would like to participate more in the regional committees. And that's something that is important, and I would hope my colleagues keep in mind. I would like the opportunity to participate in those. And I'm open to your thoughts on how I can participate on
I'll
that.
represent to you that upon your return, if you make a motion to bring forth the reorganization of the committees, I would second that, and we could have a discussion at that time.
I'm just going to say the same thing, so I would agree with that.
Okay.
Because I know that was going to be your intent for this coming year anyway. We had discussed it just casually, and you had intended to get more involved until this circumstance stepped in.
Right.
So I know that was your intent, and that was going to happen anyway. So to give you that opportunity, I would, if that needed to be brought up as a future agenda item, or if we can just agendize it, maybe when we find out you're returning, if there's a meeting and we're here, we can do that before you come back. But if you come back and you make that motion, we'll do
If I
that.
may interrupt, it's the second part of the presentation, so we'll get there next.
Okay. Okay, great. Go ahead, Madam Clerk Rosine.
Do you have direction?
I think we have direction to move forward with option 3. So staff would return come spring or upon the mayor's, in December of 2026 for an appointment of a new mayor pro tem.
Mayor, just
City Attorney Melching, yes.
quick interruption.
Yes.
We'll bring back a resolution to memorialize that we're going forward with option 3 because it's an exception to our existing city council policy. So we'll bring a resolution to memorialize that at the next meeting.
Thank you, City Attorney Melching. Okay, Madam Clerk Rosine.
So this next portion of the presentation focuses on the city's standing committees and ad hoc committees and the regional board and commission appointment timeline. Council may wish to consider adjusting the timing of these appointments to ensure city business can continue on the city's the council's standing committees and ad hoc committees. Staff will bring back an appointment list for council consideration at the next council meeting for appointments to the seats that the mayor is currently sitting on. Staff is looking for feedback on the timeline after that. I'm going to go through the options, even though it sounds like we might have a consensus on which one it is. I'll go through the options that we presented through the staff report. For the first option, all of 3 options will begin with us bringing a staff report back at the next meeting to look at all of those committees that the mayor is currently sitting on that we need coverage for while he is out. So then this option, number 1, we would bring back the item in the spring of 2026 to discuss the standing committees and the ad hoc committees, where regional boards and the commission appointments would remain the same. And then bring it back again in December of 2026 and review all standing ad hoc and regional boards effective for the calendar year 2027. Option 2, very similar. September, we'd bring that item back. And then the change here is that in the spring of 2026, we would bring back standing ad hoc and regional boards that would be effective through the remainder of 2026. And again, as normal, bringing us back bring back the item in December of 2026 for the calendar year 2027. Option 3, again, September stays the same. This would forego bringing the item back in the spring of 2025, or 2026, I apologize, and bring the item back for discussion in December of 2025 for the, December 2025 for the calendar year 2026, and again, bringing it back in December of 2026 for the calendar year 2027. And here's a summary timeline of all of those for you in one spot. And at this time, we can, if the council wishes, we can discuss those items or answer any questions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk Rosine. Okay, council, any questions? Hearing none. And so, based off our previous discussion, it sounds like, when I return, we can bring this back and discuss my appointments to the regional boards. But for this portion, let's discuss what days you want to talk about the filling in of my vacancies. Councilmember Diedrich.
Well, I think option 2 is the option that makes the most sense per what you were discussing and what you were requesting, right? Is so that when you return, all the seats come back up for discussion when you return.
Right, but we need to figure out who's going to be the alternate.
I think that's the same on all 3, right? That's next meeting.
It looks like that was part of the option 3 in the last one.
So we are looking for the council's recommendation on who would be the first, we're going to bring,
yeah.
so let me apologize. Next council meeting, we are already planning to bring back the item for you guys to discuss who is going to take the appointments between your absence. So those appointments would be effective on your leave. And then depending on council's consideration here, so if we went with option 2, then those regional board and committees that we discuss next meeting would be in effect until your return spring of 2025.
Correct. Okay, got it.
So the next meeting is already happening because we need to be able to consider you city business. So we do need to establish those new appointees.
Okay, and that will happen at the next meeting.
And that's going to happen at the next meeting.
Okay.
So what we're looking at is the next step of when we bring this forward. If we bring this forward upon your return, option 1, we would only look at our city committees or in our ad hocs. So our finance committee, our school and district committee, and then our few ad hocs that we have established. Whereas option 2, we would bring back everything, including the regional boards, RCT, CRTA, WRCOG, all of those would return in option 2 with our standing committees as well.
Okay. Sounds like we'll handle my absence on the next city council meeting, and then upon my return, we can discuss the reorganization.
The full reorganization.
The full
would be
reorganization.
option 2, right? Yeah, I think that makes
Okay.
Yeah, the meeting we would have had, the first meeting of the year, we'll have that when you come back.
Okay, correct.
And we don't need a date certain for that now. That we can schedule that upon return, a notice of return.
Right, so the purpose of this was so that staff can prepare. So once we have notice that the mayor is returning, we will get these items on the agenda for you.
That makes sense.
Okay, great. Looks like we have direction.
Option 2?
Yes, option number 2. Okay. City Attorney Melching, do you need anything else from us? You have direction, sir?
I got everything I need, but the city manager points out, and city clerk, I may have missed it. When is the city council selecting the alternate presiding officer?
We can do that either this evening, it was on the agenda as a recommended action, or we can do it at the next, the September meeting where we look at the regional boards and committees as well.
Okay.
If the council's ready to discuss, we can take that action.
Council, do you have a preference to decide that? The next city council meeting, we're going to discuss all of this, so we can knock it all out in one shot the next city council meeting? Yes.
That's the way I think I'd like to do it, put it all together and have it in one package.
I see a lot of head nod yeses. So, Madam Clerk Rosine, at our next city council meeting, we will iron all this out.
Sounds Sounds perfect. We'll bring back an item for you to approve and consider.
Thank you, Madam Clerk Rosie, and we appreciate your support. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Next, we are on item 13, City Attorney Report. City Attorney Melching, do you have anything to report?
No, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager Report. City Manager Villa, anything to report?
No reports.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Mr. City Manager, it's going to be your birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you so much, yes.
Next, we are on 15, future agenda requests from council members. Council, do you have any future agenda items to request? Hearing none? Okay, this meeting is adjourned at 7:14. Good night, Menifee.